So OnePlus finally went from calling itself the flagship killer to the flagship in 2020. Yes, we are talking about the OnePlus 8 and the OnePlus 8 Pro. So be sure to watch the whole thing and let us know what you think in the comments below. Hey guys, welcome back to ProductNation, and in this video, we're gonna jump right into the OnePlus 8 and the 8 Pro devices. Specifically talking about the OnePlus 8 Pro because that is the new flagship for OnePlus. Not the killer, but the flagship itself. The major changes that we're seeing from last year's upgrade is the 5G connectivity, faster refresh rates for the display at 120Hz, and support for a speedy 30-watt warp charger and also wireless charging. Now, another major change is that they've moved on from the mechanical front-facing camera that pops up from the top to a hole punch cutout. Another huge upgrade is going to be obviously that massive Snapdragon 865 processor, which is going to be able to handle that 5G and also a lot of processing power. The OnePlus 8 and 8 Pro will support 90Hz for the OnePlus 8, 120Hz on the OnePlus 8 Pro. This is a huge step from being the 90Hz screen last year, and also it supports 30 watts in wireless charging and can power a phone battery by 50% in just half an hour, which is pretty good for that price point. Speaking of display, the OnePlus 8 Pro's display is a 6.7-inch display, 3168 by 1440 pixels. This also supports the HDR10 Plus and that 120Hz display that we talked about earlier. Now, something that people were really complaining about on the Samsung Galaxy S20 Ultra is the fact that they do have extremely high resolution, but they don't allow you to use that with the 120Hz refresh rate. You have to downscale back to 1080 and only then you can use the 120. So the OnePlus has implemented you being able to use 1440p Quad HD with the 120Hz display. In terms of security, OnePlus is still using an in-screen fingerprint sensor, which is not faster, not slower. It looks to be exactly the same as the previous generation, maybe with slight improvements and likely snappier. In terms of internals, the OnePlus will be running Oxygen OS based on Android 10 that made it very enjoyable to use. Apart from that, it's using the Qualcomm Snapdragon 865 like I mentioned. It has a 5G chipset. It has a RAM of 8GB or 12GB with a storage of 128GB or 256GB. The battery on the OnePlus 8 Pro is going to be a 4510 mAh battery. 4510 is pretty good, and you should get a full day of use out of that. So if you guys have watched the video so far, please be sure to hit that like button and also consider subscribing for more content just like this in the future and also better content. Now, in terms of camera, this is usually where the OnePlus fell behind. This time around, they have a quad camera setup with the main sensor of the camera 48 megapixel being the IMX689 Sony sensor. It's got the main shooter, which is a 48 megapixel. It's got an ultra wide angle, also 48 megapixels. It's got an 8 megapixel telephoto lens and also 5 megapixel color filter lens. It also has a dual LED flash, 3x hybrid zoom, 4K video at 30 and 60 FPS. The images produced from this are definitely flagship level. The samples that we've seen puts it on par with the S20 Ultra, the Huawei P40, and basically all those phones short of the Google Pixel and the iPhone 11 Pro Max. The front camera Sony sensor is the IMX471, which is a 16 megapixel with the aperture of 2.5. It also does 1080p video at 30 FPS. In terms of connectivity, it does the basic stuff that you would expect from a flagship: Bluetooth 5.1, 4G LTE and 5GE, Wi-Fi 6, NFC, and also 30 watts, warp charging and wireless charging. In terms of colors, it comes with the Onyx Black, Glacial Green, and the Ultramarine Blue. For the price, it really does stand out. It's going to be about 3,885 ringgit. That's 900 USD for the 8GB 128 gigs variant. And it's going to be 999 ringgit, which is 4,320 ringgit for the 12GB with 256GB of storage variant. Now, again, this is very expensive, and that's why it's moved on from the flagship killer territory to actually becoming a flagship itself. And they've been hiking up prices over time. To be honest, this time it does look like it is worth the price for what you're getting out of it. So that's about it, guys. That's all we have for the OnePlus 8 and the 8 Pro. It definitely does live up to the flagship name and outperforms a few flagships in certain areas. We're really happy with these features, and it does look like a phone that's here to stay. And we do wish some things were a little bit different, like the front-facing camera. They could have gone with the mechanical option, but they probably did that to reserve space inside the phone. But yeah, that's like really not that big a deal. But having that full screen would have been a lot cooler with the mechanical camera at the top. But apart from that, having a water resistance, wireless charging, better camera system definitely puts it up there in the list of flagships for the upcoming years, and we're really excited to see where OnePlus goes next. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked it, be sure to hit that like button and also consider subscribing, and we'll see you again in the next video.